There was this moment Tuesday night in Los Angeles that felt different. Not just another NBA game. Not just another celebrity athlete coming back from injury. What happened between the Lakers and the Utah Jazz was something that nobody in professional sports had ever witnessed before, and that detail matters more than you might think. LeBron James stepped onto the court for his 2025-26 season debut against Utah at 40 years old, in his 23rd season. Think about that number for a second. 23 seasons. In the entire history of the National Basketball Association, no player has ever done what LeBron was about to do. He wasn't coming back from a routine injury. He'd been sidelined for the entire first 14 games of the season. His team had gone through nearly a month of basketball without their biggest star, and somehow they'd managed to stay competitive. The reason LeBron had been missing was a condition called sciatica. It's a nerve issue that travels from your lower back down through your legs. For him, it affected his right side. He felt it this past summer, and it forced him to miss training camp entirely. It made him skip the preseason, and it kept him on the sidelines watching as his teammates tried to build some kind of momentum without their franchise player. When you're dealing with sciatica, you don't just wake up one day and feel better. It's unpredictable. Some mornings you feel fine, some mornings you don't. That uncertainty became part of LeBron's daily reality as he worked through rehabilitation with the G League's South Bay Lakers. The Lakers had assembled an interesting team heading into this season. After finishing last year as the third seed in the Western Conference, they'd made moves that caught a lot of people off guard. They brought in Luka Doncic in a significant trade. Doncic had emerged as one of the league's best players, and suddenly the Lakers had this two-time talent pool that raised eyebrows. Austin Reeves, who was already established with the team, was having his best season yet. And now you were about to add a fully healthy LeBron James into that mix. But here's where it gets complicated. The Lakers had gone 10-4 without LeBron. That's not a fluke record. That's a team playing good basketball. When James returned, the question wasn't whether he could still play at a high level. The question was whether adding him would actually make them better, or whether they'd just become one of those narratives we talk about in sports where too many options on one team creates friction instead of excellence. During the game against Utah, something interesting happened. Luka Doncic took over. He scored 37 points, and 17 of them came in the third quarter alone when the Jazz had actually been playing pretty well. The Jazz had jumped out to an 11-point lead early. Keontae George was playing lights out. He finished with 34 points. Lauri Markkanen, who's become this fascinating player to watch with how defenses have to account for him, put up 31 points. Two talented young players, both having big nights, and it still wasn't enough. LeBron himself didn't put up big scoring numbers. He had 11 points, but he had 12 assists. That double-double in his first game back, just moving into his record 23rd season, was really the statement. He wasn't trying to prove he could score. He was trying to prove he could facilitate, that he could make his teammates better, that the basketball infrastructure of the Lakers with Doncic and Reeves was going to be his focal point. There's something people don't talk about enough when it comes to LeBron at this stage of his career. He's already the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. He's already broken countless records just by showing up and playing. What matters now isn't about individual achievement anymore. It's about winning. It's about taking what should be an elite collection of talent on the Lakers and turning it into something that can win a championship. That's the only thing that justifies his presence, that justifies keeping him on the court, that justifies adding to the minutes he plays at 40 years old. But this game meant something bigger than just the Lakers' chances. The NBA has been quietly dealing with an injury crisis. Not just big ones that make headlines, but a consistent thread of major stars being sidelined just when momentum is building. The league's health situation has been something that's been gnawing at people who follow basketball closely. Some of that is natural. Some of that is the demanding schedule. Some of it is just the luck of timing. But when LeBron James, who'd been incredibly durable throughout his career, suddenly finds himself dealing with sciatica and missing 2 weeks of games, it adds to this bigger conversation about what's happening with player health across the entire league. The Jazz, on the other hand, are facing a different kind of challenge. They're young, they're talented, George and Markkanen are both players who have real NBA futures. But they also learned something important on Tuesday night. Talent alone isn't enough. The Lakers had it, and they still won. The Lakers had to integrate a returning superstar, make that work with their existing pieces, and still come out on top in a game where Utah played with tremendous effort. When you look at what happened in that game, it really illustrated the depth of what's now possible when championship-level talent is assembled on one roster. The Lakers had 3 legitimate offensive options. The Jazz had the same. But the Lakers' third option was Doncic, which is essentially a cheat code in basketball. And the Jazz couldn't overcome that gap. It doesn't matter how well George plays or how efficiently Markkanen scores. If your third-best player is significantly outmatched against their third-best player, the math usually doesn't work out. As the season continues, the real story with LeBron isn't going to be about whether he can still play at a high level. That question was answered the moment he stepped onto the court. The real story is going to be about recovery, about whether the Lakers can keep him healthy as the season wears on, about whether this team can sustain the chemistry and focus required to actually win it all, and maybe more importantly, about what it means for the rest of the league that a 40-year-old player in his 23rd season is still a significant piece of a championship-caliber team. The sciatica is something he'll probably manage the entire season. Coach J.J. Redick made it clear that this is uncharted territory. He's going to have conversations with LeBron about rest, about workload, about what can and can't be pushed when you're managing a nerve condition alongside competing at the highest level of professional basketball. That's not typical for star players, but LeBron at this point is not a typical situation. So yes, the Lakers won on Tuesday. Yes, LeBron made his season debut. Yes, it was historic because it was his 23rd season. But the real meaning of that game is going to unfold over the next few months. It's going to be determined by whether the Lakers can sustain this, whether LeBron can stay healthy, and whether adding him into a team that was already playing winning basketball actually creates something special, or if it just reshuffles the same deck. That's where we stand with the Lakers today.